The views and opinions expressed during Love and Life with Lane and Dave are those only of the speakers and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or the position of our podcast hosts or affiliates. Any content provided is not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, anyone, or anything. All right, let's do it.
You're listening to Love and Life with Lane and Dave, the podcast where logic is power and you take control. Thank you for tuning in, making the choice to listen in and get ideas for your own love and life. Now, here are your hosts, Lena Williams and David Vaccaro.
I'm Lena.
I'm Ralph.
I got to it before he did, but here's why, because he's been gone for a little while. So you know what?
I'm slow.
I'm head honcho on this.
That's
I
right.
say I'm
That's
Lena.
right.
And now we go to him.
And I said I'm Ralph. Yeah, because I've been
And he's
saying
Ralph.
I was
Oh, he
gonna say
finally
that.
did it.
Yeah, yippee.
It's been...
That was so
If
less.
anybody doesn't know what that means, go back a couple episodes.
Yeah, and it's so less exciting than I thought it was going to be. So I'm David. Yeah, I'm David. It's me. Where have I been?
He is.
Mind your business.
Hey, you've been on a siesta, or no, a
hiatus.
What do you call it? Hiatus.
Yeah, vacation.
That must have been some siesta in there.
There was definitely some siesta.
I'm sure.
But today we're going to talk about something that really kind of pisses me off, actually, when I hear people say it. So, and it wasn't me. It wasn't even me that came up with it. It was Lena. You came up with this idea, I believe, and added that to the list.
I did, but you said that you thought this was important today. Now, can you tell me if there's any kind of something that may have happened that that made you interested in this at this particular time?
I think I've been hearing a lot of this. And that's why it was like, now is a perfect time because me, when the social media starts talking about something, it gets my panties in a bunch. This is something that I've been seeing a lot of lately. So basically what we're going to talk about, and I'm not going to say the title because we don't know what it is yet, but it's basically people that say
working on it.
If a relationship is too easy, then somebody will lose interest really quickly. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, which...
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we discussed a few, but yes, that particular statement, yes.
Yeah, and so people are and that goes with a whole bunch of things. Oh, they're too nice, everything's too perfect, something's not right, and if it seems too perfect, it probably is, that whole thing, which drives me nuts because, in my opinion, a relationship should be easy. If if you're a match, it should be easy. You both are on the same freaking page, and that's what makes it easy.
And we discussed way at the beginning of this podcast, 100 years ago,
at least
one of our first few episodes in friendships and relationships, I believe, or friendships versus relationships.
Yes,
that's one of them. That we believed that the easy part wasn't because it was supposed to be that you could stay on autopilot with it, but more that the attraction's there.
Yep.
The interest is there. The bond is there. So the stuff that you do, you don't find taxing.
Right. And the connection is there.
So it's not so much that you're not doing anything in the relationship, more like that you are fine with doing the things that you do, you're happy to do.
You're doing them already without that other person, but
true,
then you can do them with somebody else.
But I mean like in response to the other person. Like,
right.
You and I are dating, Dave, and you like this, and I'm like interested in you, so I want to make sure that like whatever, nothing. I'm not being myself, but there's nothing that I'm doing for you that's like a hassle for me or an effort for me.
Right, exactly.
Overall, the relationship, I'm with somebody that I'm matched with, and so therefore I'm willing to put effort in.
Yeah, and the effort is easy, right?
Because you're happy to do it.
It's funny because everybody will say, find a job that you love and you won't work a day in your life. How about you find a person that you love and you won't work a day in your life on that relationship? Right. It's not like
that would be logical to think that, Dave.
Yes, so here we go. It's the logic of the ease of a relationship. What's the logic behind it? And the logic behind it is exactly that. If you're actually a match with somebody, it is a much easier because you want to be with that person anyway. They're not. When you feel somebody's in your space, so it's difficult because I have to give up my space. It's difficult because, they're interested in this and I'm interested in that, and they don't like my friends and I don't like their friends. You're just not a match. If all those things are together and happening, then yeah, you're not a match. Because if they like different people than you like, then you're really different people.
That particular part of it, I would assume I would definitely look at that as something that's a sign of
incompatibility.
What you both like to do. That's everybody has their personal
everybody's got
interests and
different
stuff.
hobbies, sure, but you got to kind of be in the same line of things, right? Like for example, I'm into the whole survival thing, and I want to buy property and build a homestead. I could never be in a relationship with somebody that wants to live in the city. That they're a city girl.
Right.
It's not my thing.
That makes sense.
Right?
That's not a hobby, though. No, that's not really what I meant. But yeah,
okay, so hobby. So even, I'm a musician. That's one of the things I do for hobby, right? If they hate music, well, that's going to suck because...
Who hates music, Dave?
Well, they're not, you know what I mean. Maybe they...
No,
maybe,
I don't.
I don't know. Maybe they only like hip-hop and they don't want to hear any rock and roll. I
did meet a person one time that said, I don't like music. And I still to this day think they were just trying to shock me or they were just lying.
Yeah.
I just don't like any music. And I'm like, no kind of music. Nope. So when you're driving home from work, what do you listen to? It's completely silent. I'm like, that's really
psychopathic. That's really what I do. I don't listen to music very often, so you just call me a psychopath.
But do you listen to anything?
No.
Okay, that's different. So it's possible that you and I both. Nope, I don't do that.
I'm unwinding is what I'm doing.
It could
usually.
be. If you make a lot of noise everywhere else, it's different.
Right.
But if you just listen, like if you're just living in a 9-to-5 rut and you don't have any kind of specific talents that's different than is like nothing. You don't even listen to like talk radio. You don't listen to anything.
Yeah, no, I it's weird because when I'm driving, I like
a psychopath, Dave.
Yeah. Well, don't tell. There goes my whole dating fucking life down the drain. It's because I'm a psychopath.
I'm sorry to everybody that would be dating, that would looking at Dave as a possible date.
Yeah, don't do it. He's a psychopath.
I didn't mean it. You didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's just sometimes I like to be alone with my thoughts. And being a musician, when I turn on the radio, I focus on the music itself. I can't. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I do listen to music, and I listen to it on loud. I like music, but majority of the time I'm in silence because I'm always spending that time with my brain and making sure it's you okay.
I actually like to shut my brain off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing for music. For me, it doesn't shut it off. Like people are like, well, instead of sleeping with the TV on, why don't you sleep with music on? Well, because I'll dissect the music and I'll reproduce it in my head and hear other parts and stuff. I can't. I get too involved.
No, I'm the same way with that. But when I'm driving, I'm not sleeping, so it's different.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Most of the time I spend, I can put music on in the background. To me, it's like just background. So if I want to hear this, that's the best time for me to put music on that I need to learn or I need to understand or whatever, because when I got to play it.
Right.
So whatever the new top 40 is, things like that, I'll actually throw on a loop.
Sure.
And leave it on in the car, like on low, just because it becomes familiar to me from hearing it 4 or 5 times in the car,
Right.
Or my audiobooks, me and my podcasts, my audiobooks and stuff.
Yeah. That's another thing, too, is I listen to podcasts now more so than not. YouTube videos is another thing. I watch a lot of, people's opinions. I like them. So, getting back to the ease of a relationship. So if you find yourself in a relationship, never say it's too good to be true. That statement's always bothered me too. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Well, what are you saying? Are you saying you're not worth it? I'm not worth something good like that? Because if you spend a lot of time, working on yourself, then when you meet somebody, you're going to meet somebody that's going to open up to you a lot quicker than somebody who's still got a big mess going on, because they're going to look at you and they're going to go, I see this, I see that. Is that something I'm afraid of? And then they jump in anyway. And then they say, well, you have to work at a relationship. You mean you don't? The relationship in itself is not a lot of work. Just be who you are, and if the person loves you for that, that's the way it works, right? If I'm a romantic guy and I like buying gifts and I like doing nice things for people, and that's who I am as a person, then that's what I'll do for my girlfriend too. So and that it's not work for me. I'm not going out of my way to be somebody that I think she wants me to do.
if you're with somebody that likes gifts and you're the type that likes to buy gifts, that should be pretty easy to do. That should be pretty much like not even a thought.
Yeah. So
like there's no. However, if there's a difference there, and for most of the time you hear, well, she likes to get gifts, but he doesn't like to buy gifts. This is usually the kind of crap that you hear. If you hear people complaining, that's usually what it is.
Right.
And that's going to be. I'm going to say that's going to be not a match.
Correct. I would say
it's
so
just
too.
That's not what he does. And if he does have to do it, he has to be reminded. And he,
that's not
he stomps his feet a lot about it.
And it becomes work, right? And then it becomes hard work. And it's the same thing. If I try to date somebody, and we all know because I say it every single episode.
Yes, we do. Here we go.
Yeah, I like to be with somebody who's affectionate. I like to be touched. If I'm in a relationship and she doesn't touch me, I don't want to have to tell her to touch me because now she has to work at being something I want. And that means we're not compatible.
Sure.
Yeah. It's simple. I mean, that's the craziness behind all this.
On the other hand, if it's somebody I'm dating. Actually, that's not true. Everybody thinks that like I'm completely non-affectionate. That's not true. I just don't hang all over everybody I know like after 10 minutes. I just don't. There are people I'm very close with that I'm affectionate with, but I'm not one to be affectionate immediately. A lot of people really are.
Right.
And like expect everyone else to be. Right. I'm just a real slow burn, so.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I just met somebody. I met somebody recently, and she put her head on my chest, and it felt good to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she did it. I didn't ask her to do it. She did it. Right. That's what I'm talking about, stuff like that, right? So that's the stuff that allows me to feel somebody else's energy, which I like to feel somebody else's energy too. I don't think you can really feel it without touch. And that's, my opinion, I guess. But
well, here's what I think. Well, you can actually, but that's another story. But yeah. I think I think what people normally do is, the whole root of the problem is that people don't like to be by themselves, and they will compromise their way into something to not be alone.
100%.
The word alone, which I don't like, but
I don't either.
Single or
unless you're a hermit in the mountains, you're not alone.
Right, unless you're in solitary confinement, and even then you're really not. But that's all right. But basically, they're just like, let me just get into this now.
Right.
You know when you go buy a car and like the salesperson comes over and goes, "What can I do today to get you into a car? What can we do to get you into a car today?"
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Just get in the car now. Just buy the car now, and then when you figure it out in the next month or so, figure out whether there's stuff in it you like or you don't like. We just want you to buy it and get out of here.
Right.
That's a relationship. For most people, it's like, let me get into it. Let me get involved and let me figure it all out later. I just don't want to be single. So let me just be unsingle now. Mm-hmm. And then let me decide later on if, like, most of the time, what they really mean by I'll work it out later is, what can I compromise on? What can I just act like isn't happening? What can I ignore? Because if I have to, if I don't ignore it, then I'm going to have to decide to leave this person, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming, or Easter is coming, or whatever. Right? There's this big dinner party my boss is throwing, and I need to bring somebody. Whatever.
Yep. I think somebody just talked about that the other day. How
this is the stuff that people
they didn't want to leave their relationship for the kids, and I'm like, oh, good. So let your kids be raised, seeing two people that don't love each other and how it's supposed to be. That looks good, or it's exactly not how it's supposed to be. But you're showing them, this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it does. It really, unfortunately, when you have kids, it does really teach them how to be dysfunctional in their own relationships.
It really does. It absolutely does. You're better off being a single
unless you have the wherewithal
to
sit somewhere and talk to them about it. But they're not going to care. They're going to watch what you're doing.
They're too young to understand the words.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It depends on how old they are, Dave.
Right. Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
But I'm saying if they're old enough to understand the discussion, then you can sit down and say, well, here, I don't want you to do this, but I'm doing this because, most kids aren't going to care though, because they're still watching you do it.
But they'll get stuck in the same thing. Yeah. And they're going to either that, or they're going to, they're still learning, as children, even if they're 14 years old, they're still learning. And one of the things they learn is, okay, so if I get into a relationship and I don't want to move back into my mom's house with my mom, so I'm going to stay in this relationship even though it's bad. Because my mom did the same thing, and she explained to me, this is what you do. No, it's not what you do.
Right.
I would rather be homeless.
Or she explained to me that she did it because she had to, but told me not to. But, subconsciously.
But here I am. My mother told me her whole life not to smoke.
Right.
As she smoked.
My grandmother
Guess what?
did too.
I
was
smoke.
A smoker. Yep.
Yeah. So, did I listen? Nope. Not at all.
Right.
Because.
Yeah. See, do as I say, not as I do doesn't really work really well with children.
It doesn't.
So I was going to say, that's really the only defense you would have. And most children won't listen to that anyway. They're going to do whatever they want to do.
Of course. Yeah.
But, I always tell people this. If somebody, it sounds really weird to say this, but if somebody comes to you with your situation and says, what should I do? What would you tell them? Right?
Can I have an example?
In other words, if somebody says, well, I'm with this guy and I kind of like him, but, he never calls me and I always find him talking to other women and whatever. And you
fit that mold?
No, like, in other words, that person is telling you all about their life. Okay. But let's say that you were in that same situation. You're going to give different advice than you would.
Does
that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm great at giving advice and horrible at following it. That's the way I look at it.
Well, that's one thing. That's one point. But what I'm saying is that if you're in a relationship you're unhappy with,
right?
Take it and put it on a friend. Like, let's say one of your friends came to you with your relationship and said,
"Oh, yes,
what do I do about this?"
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the advice that you should take and apply to yourself.
Correct.
Not what you're doing. You should take what you would tell one of your friends to do
and do that. Yep.
And do that.
Absolutely.
I know that maybe that came up backwards.
It did. I didn't get it very well, but I do now. And honestly, no, I don't need to do that because.
Well, you don't. Nobody's talking about you, Dave. You're too smart for that.
I'm talking about me. I like to talk about me. Let's talk about me.
Yeah, he does. Obviously, So I'm saying for the listener out there that's in a relationship where you're not happy and you don't know what to do, I would say you sit down on a couch, your friend comes over and tells you the exact same story that you live.
Yeah. Yep.
And says, I'm not happy with this. I don't know what to do. What would you tell them?
And then
that's what you need to do. Write it down and do it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And let's
talk about Dave again.
We're not really talking about me. I just it's something it's learnable too. Because Lena is the same way. By the way, she would take that same advice that she would give a friend and she'd give it to herself. It's and this goes back to when we talk about being honest with yourself, right? We already know. Like if somebody goes, "What should I do?" I usually look them right in the face and go, "You already know what you want to do." I don't know why you're even asking. What you should do. You already know what you should do. Yeah.
What you want. Yeah.
What you want, and even what you want to do. It's it's amazing to me how people say, "I know I should leave. I don't want to be there. This is ridiculous. I hate this. Blah blah blah," and then they don't go.
But I can't help it. Well, then let's go. Let's jump over to the brain episode.
That's right. You can't help it,
and you can help it.
Yes.
And again, every time I say this to a woman, I know that it's not fun to listen to and it's not romantic and it's not Walt Disney and all that. But when you're in a relationship where you're specifically choosing somebody that is treating you like shit and saying, "But I don't know what it is. I just can't get this guy out of my head. It feels like we were meant to be together. I don't know how I keep ending up with him." I can tell you how. I can tell that this is your brain chemistry. I can tell you exactly how it's happening.
Yeah, that's one.
Now, you might not like it.
And childhood trauma. Yeah.
Right. This whole thing about, when anybody says to me, I understand people have psychological trauma and things like that. And so I'm not saying that that's not valid. But what I'm saying is this I'm helpless to it thing that I hear from people drives me crazy. So when somebody says, "Well, I don't know what to do. I can't get out of it. I can't unentangle myself from this thing. I don't know what it." Yes, you can.
Of course you can.
It might not be easy to do, and that's what you're saying. You're saying, like, you might have to make an effort to do it. It might be hard for you to get over something that you are used to.
Right.
But you can do it. Saying, "I can't do it, I'm helpless to it." That's not...
That's not true.
That doesn't fly with me.
Yeah, me either.
So, and your brain chemistry, I tell people this. I'll be telling people this till I die.
And it was so nice to have it validated by a professional,
You are not, there's no fate happening here.
Nope.
You meet a guy, your body, your DNA, your body is trying to get you to bond with another human being
and
for the
procreate.
sake of procreation.
Yes.
Or, and other things.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much, it is a historical, biological thing that doesn't necessarily have to happen, but that's why you're getting.
It's actually an instinct. Our body has instincts. Right. Yeah.
Well, it's an instinct, but it's also.
Yeah.
It is an instinct, but your body is actually kicking in. Your brain is kicking in. It is blocking your sense of understanding what's right and wrong for you.
Yep.
And it's feeding you a bunch of serotonin and dopamine and things that like make you feel great and euphoric and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And your biological DNA is trying to perpetuate.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's why, and the more you sleep with somebody and the more your oxytocin kicks in, the dumber you get. I don't know how else to put it.
And
so
she
make
did.
sure
She
that
said
this person you're with
dopamine is called dope for a reason.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because you feel dopey, because you don't use your brain. You're not thinking straight.
No.
And somebody
really
that gives you that, oh my God, I can't think straight thing. Yeah, that's all good and fine, I guess. So is doing like a bunch of spins and then standing on the edge of a bridge. That's exciting too. But you could kill yourself.
Right.
Exactly. How do you like that?
I like it.
Friend?
That's an analogy.
It's an analogy.
I downloaded this thing that we never use anymore specifically to make an analogy thing because we use analogies all the time and we wanted to have some sort of hit that said, an analogy or whatever we were going to do. Right. And I never did it. Well, in all fairness, when I got this, I was not in the coach either where I have my recording studio and I can actually make one. Right?
True.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So
we'll let it go.
Yeah. So
anyway, we don't need to get into. Just go listen to our brain episode twice.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe.
But at the end of the day,
you may need to listen to it 3 times.
When you feel a pull and you're like, I don't know how to stop this. I'm helpless to this person. When you start thinking like that, that means you need to brush up on your cognitive.
Because it's all cognitive. First of all, and even though the brain may be getting back to normal if you've been with the person for a period of time, but then what happens is our childhood kicks in and overtakes all that. And that's really where you have to look at. Like, I know people that are staying in relationships. I know multiple people staying in relationships they don't belong in. They're a problematic relationship. They're a difficult relationship. They don't really want to be in it. They're back and forth in the relationship all the time, breaking up together, breaking up together, breaking up. It's terrible. And that comes from the childhood part. That is, and I will say that I actually have friends out there that have attachment issues, and they attach onto something and they don't want to let it go because of something that happened in their childhood, for sure.
Right.
So
it's too bad. It's too bad that you can't. I don't know if everybody's like Dave and I, where you're just like somebody tells you that and you go look it up and you go, oh, okay. Yeah. So if I do this, this, and this, I just won't do that anymore.
That's right.
It'll suck a little bit for like 5 minutes, and then I'll move on.
Yeah, you'll live.
People just can't apply stuff like that, or most people.
You'll live, and here's the thing that kicks my ass.
We all have by the way, we all have attachment styles and attachment disorders and all kinds
absolutely.
of things like that, right?
No question. No question.
It's just a matter of which thing it is and which childhood issue you're dealing with.
I tend to see somebody that I am attracted to that kind of fits what I'm looking for. And I don't attach myself to that person, but I maintain a friendship with that person to see where their life goes and see if they become a fit for me or not. I tend to do that.
That's healthy.
It is healthy because it's just a friend. I'm not pursuing anything, or I don't pursue anything like that. I stick around though because I enjoy that person, and if nothing else, I have a friendship with them. And I'm not sticking around going, geez, maybe one day if I stick around long enough, she'll give in and, jump in my bed.
Yeah, that's the return on investment thing.
Yeah, no, there's none of that. It's not that. My return on investment is a friendship.
There's a phrase we have on, my friends and I have the internet called, I put the nice coins in, why didn't the sex fall out?
Yeah, right. That's funny.
Put the nice coins in, or I put the funny coins in, or I put the investment of time coins in. Why didn't the sex fall out? Yeah.
I have a red light on my microphone. I've never noticed before. Do you?
I do too.
Okay. I just never saw it. It's
I'm
way
assuming
over.
you can see my red light. It's like right here.
No, because you're not far enough forward.
It's in the way. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just no.
I'll move it for you. Would you like to see it? Look there.
No.
My red light. See
I
it?
still don't see it. No.
I still don't see it.
No. Your microphone. Yeah, I do see it. Absolutely.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Look at that.
I think it just means it's on.
Yeah, I think that's what it.
Hey, finding out technology as we go.
I know, right? Everybody's going, what the hell are they talking about? I can't see. I want to see.
I want to see.
It's just a red light on the side of the microphone.
We actually
It's nothing
have
exciting.
the capability now to do video chat since I'm now all revved up.
We do. We absolutely do.
We'll
Yeah.
have to
Maybe
show
we'll do
the people
some.
at home our red lights. My God.
Yeah. We'll be like, and remember we were talking about the red light? Boom.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you find yourself in a relationship that seems rather difficult, and people
Mm-hmm.
are saying, "Well, relationships take hard work," that's not true. Hard work takes hard work. A relationship should make your life easier, if anything else, if nothing else, rather.
I'm going to be really corny and say it should be your soft place to fall.
Jesus.
But in a way, it's
Who
true.
the hell are you? It is so
know.
true. It is
I've
so
been
true.
taken
but
over by aliens.
hearing that word come out of your mouth, and I'm going to tell you. So I went through a tough time because my dad, some of you know, my dad was going through cancer, and I was having a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And Lena says to me, "Everything's going to be okay. I love you." She said, "I love you" to me.
I didn't.
And I was like,
I don't
"Did
need
that
people
hurt
to
you?"
know that.
I know, but
don't.
I'm telling. Because just so you know
too.
that when you're actually in a full blown
It's not true. I don't act
relationship,
like
a
this.
friendship
I
with
don't.
Lena, no, she doesn't normally. I mean, that's not. But she did it, and it was straight up for me. I know. I could tell. I could hear that pain in your voice. But
I didn't have pain.
I know
just
you
had
didn't.
support. I was very
you
supportive.
did. You
I'm a
did.
supportive person.
You absolutely
A friend
are.
of mine's father friend of mine's father passed a year ago. Then she went through some stuff with her dog where she thought her dog was going to end up with cancer. It turned out her dog was okay. And then right when her dog was coming out of that, and they found out her dog had like some kind of growth, and they tested it and it was fine. She was really worried about that. And then right after that happened, her brother died.
Oh, geez.
So I went to the wake on Monday.
Oh, boy.
And yes, you're somebody I'm close to, and somebody close to you dies, I'm there.
Right. Of course.
So I show up and I
know.
hug her, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And I'm like, "I love you." I kiss her all over her face. Love you,
Of
love you, love
course.
you. Like, of course
Yeah.
I'm here. You know,
Of course. I know. But
it's only when it needs to happen.
It's right, of course, and it's only people that
yeah.
are part of your life, and I understand that. I mean, I tend to be a little more like that with people that are not, that are not inside my circle, and I understand
that's your
that. So
problem.
yeah, that's your problem. Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I definitely am a feeler. No question. You already know this. But
Yes, I do.
yeah. So for you out there that are listening to us and think that, Lena is all logic and she makes fun of me because I like affection and stuff like that, it's really, her and I are a lot alike, actually. That's why we get along so well. Mine are I'm more open about some of my stuff, and she's more very selective of where her stuff goes. That's really the
private,
only difference. And
usually.
private.
Unless Dave is telling all my business.
That's awesome.
But yeah, everybody that's really close with me that listens to this podcast, and they better be listening, or I'm going to be really mad. But anyway,
I know, right?
You all know who you are. So those people,
Yeah.
I'm there. I will show up, and I'll be standing in that room, and that's how I am. So, and what's weird about me? I'm backwards, where I don't even care. I don't care that anybody does that for me. I don't even need it.
Right.
But I know others, my friends need that. That's their specific type of support, or that's
Right.
how I show up
Yep.
for them under circumstances like that. So,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool if you're in the middle of some crazy crap and somebody that you're really close to does show up.
Yeah.
So I would hope that it's helpful.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
that's
needed.
another thing too. Is like since we're talking about the ease of relationships, if the person you're in a relationship with has some idiosyncrasies, because we all do, right? We all have weird things that we like or don't like. It shouldn't be that difficult to. If they're not asking the world from you, it should be very simple. Like, I'm the type of guy, I know it sounds weird, but, I've got 2 children. When my exes were pregnant, if they wanted something in the middle of the night, I'd get dressed and went and got it. It wasn't that difficult. It's like, I'm jumping in, I'm throwing on some clothes, getting in the car.
You love to, it's funny though. I know, knowing you as a person, I know how much you love to just get up and get in your car and go anyway.
I do, absolutely.
Now
yeah,
you got a reason.
Yeah, so of course, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Plus, they're pregnant, right? So the least you could do is bring them a fucking pretzel or whatever.
yeah,
it
whatever
is,
the friggin' it was, the ice cream. was what,
Yeah.
whatever,
Right.
and even girls that I've dated that weren't pregnant, they'd be like, oh, I could really go for ice cream now. And I'm like, me too. And I'd start getting dressed. They go, where you going? I'm getting fucking ice cream. What do you mean, where am I going? You started it. So, I'm like, it's not work for me. It's, certain things are not work. I was actually in a relationship where the word bitch really bothered somebody that I was with. And you know the story, and I didn't get it. But she explained why it bothered her so much if I said the word. Even if I wasn't talking to her, just, even if I'm, watching something on TV and I go, oh my God, she's such a bitch. Nope, she did not like it. The word triggered her, okay?
Right.
So how hard is it for me not to use the word? I mean,
So
I said to
I
her,
agree with that.
It's not that difficult. You know what I mean?
So, if you're, I wanted to bring this up too. If you're with somebody, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to isolate myself from the entire world from somebody I'm dating.
That's different. Yeah.
If somebody says to me, it's an insecurity of mine for me to feel bad about this thing.
Right.
And I have any interest in them as a person, and I care about them at all, I'm going to try to make an effort to be careful of that thing.
Right.
Whether I agree with it or not, if somebody stands and tells me that, look, this bothers me,
and there's a reason,
I'm working on it, and let's discuss it as we go, and whatever.
Yeah.
But this, if you could, not do this, or if you could just tell me, I'm just telling you that this bothers me, whatever.
Yeah.
It is, of course, my choice. Because I would never tell anybody to not do anything for me.
No, you don't tell them, but at least you tell them.
It's their choice.
Yeah, you tell them, and then they make the choice. And it should be easy if they care about you at all. You know what I mean?
But I'm also not going to. There are things that I'm not going to.
Understood.
Nail somebody to the wall about if they choose not to do it or do
right.
it.
But there's limits.
I'm
right?
just letting them know.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So if something, and that goes back to I'm with somebody and we're out somewhere or we're together and they do or say something, and I get a weird feeling of like I don't like this. And once I find out what it is, usually sometimes I don't know what it is that's causing that feeling.
Right.
So I'll go and research it as I do because I analyze myself to death as I do.
Yep, me too.
And then I come back with a conclusion. I'm like a little scientist, so I come back with my little sheet with the conclusion of, hey, remember the other night when I acted like this?
Yeah.
Well, I just want you to know that it wasn't you 10 years ago, blah, 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 bitty, blah.
And that's where it came from, yeah.
And therefore, when you said this, it made me, I figured it all out.
Yep.
This made me think like this. And, I'm just letting you know as a human being and as a person in my life, you have every right to do this thing if you want to. Right. And I'm letting you know that I may react this way, and now this is why. I'm telling you.
Exactly. And that's what she said to me.
They don't have to. I'm not going to get mad at them if they decide, well, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. As long as they understand why I'm reacting the way I am. And now
she would still get mad at me if I used the word bitch. There was no question. But
I'm just saying. But so therefore, I'm not going to, in the reverse.
Of course.
I'm going to try to.
Right.
Not step on the landmine if somebody tells me the information and I care at all.
Right. Like
I'd be like, well, this is easier. Let's just not do that.
I've said it in my podcast numerous times. Like I have one and I can say it out loud. I don't like to be let down. If somebody says they're going to do something and then they just don't do it, it bothers me. It bothers me way worse. But I don't lash out. I used to when I was younger because I didn't know where it was coming from. I thought they would just be in shitbags for letting me down, right? And they didn't care and all this stuff that was attached to my childhood. But now I understand where it comes from. And so even though it still does hurt me, I know it's my own insecurities that are causing that. It's not them. It's not their fault.
Like the last couple of podcasts about personal. Dave doesn't take it personal.
I don't.
He knows it is not about him.
That's right.
He knows he's responding to it because of
my own problem.
Issues.
Yes, correct. That's correct. And again,
we could all only do that.
We should all do that because it may be somebody else's fault that I'm like that, but it's my responsibility to curb that shit. I mean that's just
exactly
that's it. That's what it comes down to. Somebody else's fault. My responsibility.
I believe that if everybody takes care of their own, everybody cleans up their own little front yard.
Yeah.
We really wouldn't have half the problems we have. But there's always an issue where somebody on both sides of the interaction, one or the other, is like trying to push the other side.
If you're waiting for the apology from the person that made you the way you are, you're never going to get it. So just deal with it and accept
that's true too.
That shit happened already. Let's move forward. And you need to be responsible for your own actions. We all are, right? So if I snap your head off because you say, oh, I'm coming over, and I get all excited because you're coming over, and then you call me and you go, oh, I know I'm supposed to be there in 20 minutes. I can't make it. and I snap your head off and go, you're a fucking asshole and blah, 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 and I go nuts on you,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, what a weirdo, right? Yeah. But no, it hurts me bad enough that I want to say that every time. Trust me. It really bothers me, but I don't do it because it's my responsibility to react to it the way a human being should react to it, which is the appropriate
and that's
way to react
all you
to
do
it.
is you take yourself into accountability and you sit everything in front of you on a table, and then you redirect your response.
Right.
You relearn how to respond to it, which you have done. So yeah, and it's so funny because there was somebody that I made plans with recently that I was looking forward to making plans with, and they canceled yesterday, and you would have hated that. I think probably it was 2 hours before they got to my, and you know what I did?
You were glad.
I went like this. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, wow, really?
Oh, no.
Oh, well, okay then.
Yeah, okay.
And they were like, okay, well, let's make plans to do it again. And I'm like, let's do that. And he was like, all right.
Yeah, and in my head, I would be going, go fuck yourself. I'm never talking to you again. That's what I'm thinking in my head, right?
And I'm going, here's me like, oh, we don't really have to set it in stone. Why don't we just think about it in 2 weeks or whatever?
Yeah, we'll come back around to it.
I'm completely different than you. But you never know. Everybody's so different that
you don't
about stuff
like that. You really don't. Like I don't know. There could be people out there that I've canceled with that may feel the same way I do, and they just disappear and don't talk to me.
I'm one of them.
Oh, really? So,
we've got to get on the couch, me and Dave.
Oh God. Oh no.
Yeah.
We're always on the fucking couch. What do you mean we got to get on the couch? We're like each other.
3 couches. One for the dogs, one for you, and for me.
Yeah. That's it.
Dave's done a few disappearing acts on me. I've never said anything.
I know.
But yeah, you have.
I know. Well, yeah, I have. But I usually tell you first.
You usually do. No, you usually there was once or twice where you just didn't say anything, and I was just like, okay.
But I chirp, 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 chirp.
I know. But no.
My silence was your answer.
I honestly, I do believe silence is an answer.
It is, but it's not. Believe that. It's not a horrendous answer. Okay. So
it just tells you what you need to know.
I actually recently talked about this on Facebook, so I will definitely talk about it here. One of the things that I do in my life is I do disappear on occasion. And I do disappear because it's the right time for me to reevaluate my life. Now, I'm happy with where my life is, don't get me wrong, but I do a deep cleanse on my life and figure out what's going on in my life, what do I like about it, what do I want to change about it, and I really go deep. And to see, because there's a lot in my life that, a lot of people know. Well, you obviously know, Lena. I've been traveling full-time RVing now, going on, this is my 12th year. 12 years I've been doing it. 11 years. I don't know. One of the two. And, I don't own property. And I've been thinking about, do I want to buy property? Do I want to? So with all the riffraff that's around me, trying to focus on anything and figure out truly what I want or what my next steps are going to be, I really have to kind of hermit myself. And that's what I do. And that's where I go sometimes. So, I'll always be back.
I don't have a problem with anybody going anywhere as long as they keep track of their commitments.
Right. Well,
I know I said I was going to do this, but I got to do a deep dive. Oh, okay. I mean, anybody who knows me, you can call me and cancel on me pretty much almost any day, and I'm like, okay. Actually, I actually take it so well that people think I'm mad.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I take it so well that they're like, "Oh, you're mad," and I'm like, "No."
No, she's just like, it's okay,
Yeah, you seem mad. You seem mad. You're not really saying anything. That's because I answered you and you told me and I said, okay. I mean, what more is there to say?
I know, right? Yeah, that's it. I get it. This particular thing. This is a prime example of how our relationship as friends, it's still a relationship. It's fairly easy, right? We're not gonna snap each other's heads off. And yes, I know that I do that sometimes, and and you'll know over the years you'll realize that this happens every few years with him. He kind of disappears for a couple of weeks, and and
that's again, you can disappear all you want. Like I said, if you have plans, though, you should at least call and tell me.
Right.
Hey, I'm disappearing, I can't do it.
Did we have plans? Well, the podcast is a weekly plan. The one thing that
this was like,
I'm going to get yelled at right here live.
This was 3 years ago. This was actually a little over 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
I never told you this.
Did I miss something?
You might have.
Oh my God.
But, I know that you, Dave, so listen, I know, Dave, that you like to have conversation and be like, yeah, that sounds really good. I really should, you know what? I should do that. Yeah, you're right. Let's do that. And then you won't follow through on some stuff. I think, though, that you like to just have the conversation sometimes. That's all.
That's possible.
Or,
was I supposed to, so I remember I was supposed to come down once, but I did cancel.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so it wasn't that?
Nope.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to talk about this.
I told them about this. This should be happening on the couch.
Oh, we're gonna do, yeah. So,
but it's not like a big deal. It's been 3 years. So,
it is. I was really
everybody.
Mad
I wouldn't have talked to you.
I'm gonna tell you what. If me and Lena are gonna talk about this offline, off air, and I promise you, in next week's episode, if you listen to this whole episode and you come back next week, I will tell you what it was.
Okay.
I will throw myself under the bus, but I'm not telling them this episode. No, they're gonna have to wait until next episode.
Well, you don't know what it is anyway.
I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you if I wanted to because I honestly don't. The only thing I thought of is the time I canceled. But holy crap, I must have made plans, and wow, I suck. That bothers me because I don't normally do that.
You do suck, Dave. What the hell, man?
Wow. See,
it was 3 years ago, and I'm like.
3 years ago, and it's getting brought up now.
I'm the type of person that, like, I'll ask, somebody will say something, they'll be like, all right, let's do that. All right, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And after about a couple of questions, I'll stop. I just won't ask anymore. I'll just move on. And then I'll go do my own thing, because I'm not like that.
And not for the life of me, I have no idea what the fuck
so
this is.
I think you were doing a lot at the time. I can say that was part of it.
I definitely was. 3 years ago was
right.
Yeah, there was a lot of crap going on. Yeah.
So it was probably just a timing thing.
That's when the business was going through.
I didn't really get a specific. I'm not going to say that I knew that you weren't going, but I didn't get a specific no from you at the time. Which is whatever. I knew that it was a no because eventually.
It was a no.
Yeah.
What the hell? All right. I don't know what happened, but oh my God, I feel like crap because I wouldn't have done that on purpose. For sure.
No, I didn't.
And see, that's the thing with Lena. Okay, see, so now you guys are actually seeing how easy a relationship should be. Whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, it doesn't matter. It should be easy. And I truly feel bad, and I don't even know what it is.
I wouldn't. I mean, if it was really that horrible, I would have already blasted you about it. It wasn't like, but I'm also like a wicked loner about stuff. So if I ask anybody to do anything with me because I don't want to do it by myself and I don't really get the answer I want, I'll stop asking, and that's the end of that.
Oh my God, you asked me to do something with you and I didn't do it. That you needed me there?
We'll talk about it later.
Oh my God, I need to know.
I kind of did, but that's okay.
Oh God.
But yeah,
such a bad friend.
It's one of those things where I'm just kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? Not a big deal. I always make plans to do anything
she will not
that I'm
remind
doing
you either.
regardless.
She will not remind you. Lena is not one to remind somebody, and I agree with that too. If somebody says, I'll see you tomorrow at noon, I expect to see him tomorrow at noon. I don't expect to have to, unless it's business, a lot of times I'll follow up and be like in the morning, I'll say, we good for noon still. Only so I can redo my schedule if I have to change it. But usually with friends, if they say, see you tomorrow at noon, or we'll meet you at noon, I'll be there.
That's actually not so bad, but I actually make plans.
Do.
I'm really bad in that I'll make plans with you in.
You do. And
like 2 months from now.
Was that one of those things?
No, it wasn't that. Stop it. I'll tell you later. So, like, I always bring up like one of my friends that like we have, we get together every so often and we have dinner, and it's like we'll make plans right now. Both of us look at our calendars, and we'll be like, all right, when do you have? We don't care where we eat really. We're just like more interested in like when do we have the block of time. So we'll talk about it. And then we'll come up with a date, and I'll give her, okay, in 2 months at 6:00 on Thursday night, let's get together. And she'll be like, all right, I got that free. We both book in our calendars. So now she's in mine, I'm in hers. That's it.
Right.
Maybe the week of, we'll start talking about what do you feel like having? What are you in the mood for?
Right.
What do you, is there any kind of a specials going on? Well, where are you going to be? Is this the better city? Whatever it is, we'll talk about like what's the best place to meet up in the middle or whatever.
Right.
Then we'll make a reservation. It'll be like the week of, but we never confirm. All we do is we get
it's on your calendar
in place.
Yeah.
Now we get into the details as the week progresses, but never like I've actually made plans with her, and we've made plans earlier, like 2 or 3 weeks before the date.
Right.
as far as what the restaurant it's going to be or whatever. Sometimes we have to call that early. And when I get there, I'm circling the parking lot. She texts me and goes, I'll be there in 3 minutes, or I'm already here. I got a table, or like we don't have to, none of that. So are we still on? So are we still on? So we still, like, we don't do that.
Right.
I love people like that. Now, if I make plans with you 2 months in advance and when I get there, you just never show. And you know who you are if you're listening.
I'm listening.
Where I'll get there and I'll send them a message and be like, all right, I'm here now. You know, what's your ETA? Do you need me to go in? I'll go in and grab a table. I'm the type of person that if I get there before you, I'll get the table. I'll sit down. I'll ask you, do you want me to grab you a drink? Whatever, while you're on your way, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Why not get that out of the way if I'm sitting there?
Right.
I'll do it. And I hate when I get back, oh my God, was that today? I want to kill people who do that. I want to kill people who do that. Because I'm a wicked planner. And if I can do it, right? And I book gigs. I'm a DJ. I have like all these things planned in my calendar like for the next 6 months. So if I can't put something in my calendar and make it happen, what kind of an idiot am I? That
I mean, a lot of people don't use calendars. I do.
Well,
I have to.
They don't have to use calendars. I don't care what they do. I don't care if they use Abacus, as long as it works for them and they're there when they need to be there.
Put it down on that ball.
They can't do that. Then they need to say, I've had people say, listen, remind me on such and such a date.
Okay.
I've had people that say, remind me. Now, I'll do that if you ask me to. I'm fine with that. But if you just say, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. And then, like, I get there and I'm, like, ready to order food. And you're just like, oh, I thought that was next week. And I'm in New York and can't be there. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Now, I'm not going to get mad. I will still eat. You know me. I don't make plans around anybody.
Right.
So I'll still eat. I'll still have a good time, do what I'm going to do solo. And then I'll just be like, yeah, I put her now or him now. I'm going to put them in this folder where I don't assume they're going to just do what they need to do. I'm going to assume I got to confirm.
God. I'm in a folder.
I'm just not making plans with them anymore or whatever.
You know, I can't stop thinking about this, right?
Get over it, Dave.
I'm not going to until I know.
Well,
I'm not going to.
You are a feeler. You're such a feeler.
I am a feeler. This is breaking my
I didn't realize
fucking,
this is going to torture you.
This is tearing me up. You have no idea. But that's okay. I probably deserved it. I honestly have no recollection whatsoever. And I hope, I hope it really wasn't that bad because I feel really hard. But it must have been for 3 years for you to remember. I mean, so I have a...
Yeah. I mean,
I have a story
it was more than your usual, like, let's get together kind of thing. It was a little more than that. What were you going to say? Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we will. And
what are you going to say?
Because we're running out of time here, which is...
We are.
Yeah, which is great. So, I actually had a friend that I'm friends with. I've been friends with him for a million years. But when we were young, he was like 16 years old, and I brought him into a recording studio, and he had stage fright and couldn't do the guitar solo. And I guess, and I didn't remember this, but this was, 15 years later, I think it was. And he says, yeah, I remember that time, and you didn't talk to me all the way home. And I'm like, wait, I don't remember that part, but he remembered it all those years later. So, you know, when
the poor guy had stage fright. On top of it, you did that to him.
I don't remember doing that.
Would you just why did you just stick his head in an oven when you got to the house?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean,
geez, surprised this dude lived through that.
It's kind of funny. So all these years later, we're in a band together, and he's like, tells me that, and I was like, I did? I don't. And then I started thinking, I go, oh, you remember that all those years that really hurt you? All those years ago? I'm like, that's insane. So so the ease of your relationship, it should be easy. It should not be something that is difficult. Now, me and Lena have a couch date now. Because, I definitely did something that I shouldn't have done. If it's something that bothered her and she remembers it, then...
Here's what's going to happen. He's just going to be like, oh, I remember. Oh, all right. Okay. That's what he's probably. Do.
But no, because if
that's
it's something...
the big finish, so don't worry about it, everybody.
But we're gonna tell him what it was next week.
Oh, yeah, well, sure. The next podcast, we'll reveal the big...
Should we say the next...
It wasn't
the next podcast terrible... I'm in? Because that'll be next week's.
Yeah, there we go. Let's bust Dave's balls. If Dave shows up for the next podcast, then we'll discuss it. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm
trying
kidding.
I'm trying to act like I'm famous, and I just don't show up at shit. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, I see.
No,
you're doing the thing where you show up 4 hours late, and everybody's like, "Hey, we've had photographers here for hours."
Yeah.
We rented the space out for like 3 hours, 4 hours. We got 15 minutes left, and you're like, you could get it done.
Yeah. Who am I, Axl Rose?
Was that's lead singer syndrome right there?
Yeah,
I'm sure you used to have it.
I definitely did. I used to show up at the last minute.
Okay, cry.
I know. Cry. Cry. Nobody ever called me that, ever. But okay. We'll double it up.
No. That's going to be my, what do you call it? My unique name for you.
Wonderful. That's special. Cry.
Oh, man.
But anyway, if you find yourself in a difficult relationship, it's not the right one. A relationship should be easy. You should want to do the things you're doing for your significant other. And if they look like they're struggling doing things to make you happy, then you're not their right person either. And that's okay.
Right.
You just need to recognize that. Because who the hell would want to be in a relationship for 20 years when you have to do shit you don't want to do? I mean,
you would be surprised.
I am surprised.
That's why, I think that's that old stuff, like where years ago, like I would say like the early 1900s or the late 1800s, there were all these what we call thought terminating cliches.
There were rules.
Well, there were rules, but they were also just like things like I can bring up like when you're getting married and, you feel weird right before the wedding and you don't want to really do it and you feel like running and people say you have cold feet. That to me is a very big warning sign that you're marrying the wrong person.
Yes.
But that was how people years ago used to convince you to just do it already and get it over with because it was more of a business thing for them.
And it was rules-based, right? I mean, you look at, if you go back a long time ago and you look at, there's these things what a woman her job was, right? Her job was to, and it's crazy because it was in one of the magazines of how to be a good wife.
The Good Housekeeping.
Yeah, Good Housekeeping.
Oh, I know
whatever
it.
it was.
I've seen it a few times.
Which is crazy. I mean, I would love that, but it's not real. No, you roll your eyes at me. She just rolled her eyes at me.
I rolled my eyes at him, but you know what?
There are women out there that like that, though. By the way,
listen, I'm a Steinem feminist, and everybody that knows me knows that I'm a Steinem feminist. I'm a little bit of a Friedan feminist. However,
the third round of feminism is horrible. Right. Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to go there.
No, we're not.
But my point is, to me, feminism is a choice-based ideology, meaning, if you want to be a housewife and you have a husband that likes a housewife, knock yourself out.
Exactly.
You're supposed to have the ability to choose that.
Correct. That's the whole point of being independent. If you knock women who work,
and there are a lot of women who came along and knocked Gloria Steinem, and I got news for them. Yep. If you knock people who are working because it's not what you think they should be doing, that's none of your damn business.
Correct. It's not.
By the same token, if you're a VIP woman and you're making 7 figures, and you think women shouldn't be housewives, that's none of your damn business.
That's correct.
The whole thing is that everybody is choosing where they want to be based on, and the whole thing before Steinem was Friedan, where it was like, are you supposed to be? Are we supposed to be housewives? I mean, at one point, that's what women were supposed to do.
That's
women who didn't do that
there were rules.
Ostracized by society.
Yeah, exactly, because it was
a rules-based
thing.
So just the choice of once birth control came along, that's where everything fell apart. So once birth control came along and women didn't have to have children and they were no longer chained to the crib, as you would call it.
Right.
And they didn't have to take Valium to get through their day with their children screaming and drinking vodka.
Yep.
Sitting in the closet crying.
That's
probably what I would have been doing.
And then and then taking a shower and getting all done up and stuff and making a perfect entry for your husband to come home because that's what the rule was.
Right. So,
but there are some people that love that still believe in that, and that's okay. And there are people
that's
that
what I'm saying.
Don't. But people,
it doesn't.
I did something recently. I did a thing on TikTok, and it's amazing how women do not support other women, because I knew it was going to go there too. I basically said something on the lines of, if you want to be a wife, you need to act like a wife. Now, that doesn't mean there's a specific way to act like a wife, by the way. But if you act like a potty girl,
but Dave likes to. I
do. I like to stir the pot. Absolutely. And it did.
The devil's advocate thing.
Yeah, for sure. And that's how good conversation is made, or at least ideologies.
That's how good conversation is made for you.
Yeah, well, it's a good way. It's a good way for us to actually find content as well. And we could actually do a thing on that, because I think that we should do one on
what, headlines?
No.
Sound bites?
No, on this exact discussion.
Oh,
that
yeah.
but we should do that, because I think that now we've gotten to the point where there's level 3 feminism, which is way out of control. It's not even what feminism was supposed to be originally.
I would say so. I also would say this, though. Things change.
Yeah,
Things change. I mean, there was a point in time where marriage was all about, I got 4 goats and you have a daughter. I mean, we don't do that anymore either. I mean,
yeah, right.
Changed too.
You know, I get it.
You know,
but I'm talking about a woman that comes on and says, my husband fell in love with me because I like to cook, I like to clean, I like to keep a nice home, and a girl says, why can't he do it? Well, he can. I mean, I live by myself. I cook and I clean.
So
I
that's
can
a
do
knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, of course it is. And this is
whatever.
This is today's feminism, though, and we'll talk about that another time. So
yes, we will.
The ease of relationship is something that should be in everybody's mind. It should be fairly easy to have a relationship.
It should.
Look at your friendships.
I would say this. Here's your homework as a listener. If your relationship seems to be tedious and or unfulfilling, unsatisfying, if you're with somebody and they want things that you either can't remember to do, or you don't want to do, or you find to be a hassle to do.
Yep.
And vice versa. You want something and the person you're with is just like, either they can't get it together and give it to you, or they give you an argument about it, or anything like that. To be honest with you, if you're in a relationship and you communicate, no matter what kind of relationship and shape you're in, the communication should be there, where you say,
100%.
Here's a thing that, I would like, and here's a thing you would like, and how are we going to deal with this, right? So even if you're not right for each other, at least you could do is communicate first. Yeah, just so that you have some conversation
and
on the
please
table
be honest
about what's happening.
And be honest. Right. If he's asking you, and this is for the ladies, if he's asking you, and for the guys, if she's asking you for something that you don't want to do, don't say, "Oh, I'll try harder to do it." If it's something you're not capable of, like for me, being with somebody that was not affectionate, she's telling me she's going to go to therapy and she's going to get help and that's not fair. That's wrong of me to even put her through that. Now, I've grown a lot since then, of course. I would never want somebody to go through anything and try to be somebody they're not for me.
There was a time, though, and I can tell you that as a person who's not gregariously affectionate right away, there are men that think that there's I have a dysfunction because of that. Don't tell me that it's on me. Oh, well, you're just not normal. Something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Women are supposed to be this way. Yeah, so that might have been how you felt.
I have a female friend who's with a guy who's not affectionate, and she's affectionate, and she's struggling with it. And I said, well, he's not affectionate. She goes, well, he is sometimes. And I go, yeah, after you tell him you need him to be. After you threaten to leave him, he becomes affectionate. That's not okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's what happened with my ex, and again, she's an ex because, but 4 years of struggle, right? Me telling her, I want affection, you're not affectionate, something's wrong with you. And, and it's wrong for me to ever have said anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree.
And even her parents were not affectionate. It's where she came from. It's the way she was raised. It's got nothing to do with with me.
Someday we're going to get into that too. Just attachment styles and things like that your parents passed down to you.
Yeah.
And you don't even really have any choice in the matter, at least at first.
If
you could fix it, but
if you can't, one of the reasons a relationship will be difficult, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it because we actually have to go. If you find that your relationship is difficult, it's probably because you're trying to force yourself to be somebody you're not. And you're not being honest about who you are, or the person you're with is not being honest about who they are, or you're not accepting them for who they truly are. If you can't accept the person for who they truly are, they're not your right person. And that's you being honest with yourself. That's what you have to do.
Right.
So, yeah.
So Dave and I are wrapping this up. Hey, we got it next week. We have a podcast. We'll be back. I hope we'll both be back.
We will. We'll both be back. I said it. It's official. If I'm not in next week's podcast,
all of my usual spiel, right? www.lanaanddave.com.
Yes.
That's our website. And on that website, you can find just about every podcast platform known to man.
Yes.
And pretty much all our social media.
Yeah.
Or all our important social media. We've not TikToked yet, but we do have Facebook, we do have Instagram, and we do have Twitter.
That's right. And it's all at LenaandDave.com.
So www.
Yeah,
Well, it's all at
that's our
LenaandDave.com on those particular podcast
at Lena and
platforms.
Dave, not .com. Yeah. The .com
Oh, sorry.
is our
yes,
website.
at
yeah.
Lena and Dave.
We're
I'm doing it
We're
too.
okay.
Yeah.
I sucked you right in.
Yes. We just made like a website and a podcast platform or a regular platform. We just squished it all into one
That's
thing.
all. Yeah.
But anyway.
You'll find it. It's and
pretty what is it? www.lenaandave.com. And then there's buymeacoffee.com.
Oh, yeah.
/
Yeah.
Lena and Dave.
Hey, we haven't had a coffee in a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm actually wanting coffee right now.
Me too.
Right this second, if somebody could buy me
deserve
a coffee, I would appreciate
We
it.
need coffee for when we sit down and have this discussion we're about to have on the couch.
Do it for the couch.
Do it for the couch.
Do it
so
for the couch.
It's www.buymeacoffee.com
No.
/, Lena and Dave. And you can buy us a coffee. And I have been David.
I have been Lena, and I still am and will continue to be.
That's a wonderful thing, and you always should be. And we'll see you guys, or not see you. Maybe we'll see you next week. Who knows?
Maybe we will see you next week. We might see each other next week. You might see us next week. Ooh.
See that?
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. You have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, you just listened to Love and Life with Lena and Dave. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share the podcast, leave us a comment or a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new content. We'll see you soon.